Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on matrix and the property searches. My name is Roxanne, and I'll be with you for the next hour. If you can, let me get there, just a second. So if you see this page, but you do not hear me, please check your audio and sound settings. We did do a sound check earlier, and everything was working fine. So just to let you know, if you don't hear me, please check your settings. So let us go straight into our goal here today, which will be how to do searches within your matrix tool. If you have any questions, you can ask them as we go along, or at the end of the webinar, I will have a 10-minute question period where you can ask your questions in the questions box. So basically, matrix search tool has different categories. So you can have the single family, condos, farms, commercial properties, revenue properties, land, or cross property. So most of them are really simple. Only different one is the cross property. So the cross property, basically, an example I can give you is a house, a townhouse, that is held under condo laws. It could also be an individual home, but it could also be a condo concept. So the house, even though they both look similar, one can be a condo and one can be the home. So if you're not sure which category that house is under, the easiest way to do is do a cross property check, which will involve anything that has that same address. So if I do an example right here, I'm going to go into general because each of the categories I showed you, and whether you can go into general search, number, census number search, address search, or a customized search. I usually always go into general because if you want to go by census number search, the top bar, which is always there, whether you're in here, in houses, in condos, in commercial, you can just enter the census number and it will pop up, even if you're not in the right category. So not to worry about by number. So I will give you an example of a cross-property search in general. And let me see if I go into Montreal and I'll give an address of 950. There are 21 matches in Montreal for the address 950. I did not ask if it was a house, a condo, commercial. And if I see the results, you will see that this is a home. These are condos, more condos, and a commercial property. But they all have the same address 950. So as you can tell, whether it's a house, a condo, or for sale apartment, anything that has the address 950, you can find regardless of the category it finds itself in. So that's just to show you the search under cross property. Normally what would happen, the customer would call you and say, I just saw a house at 250 Apple Street. So you would just enter 250 or Apple, and whatever it is, whether it's a condo or it's a house, it'll pop up. So that's an easy search if you're not sure if it's a condo or a home. So let me go back to basics and let us start with a single family search in the general purpose of the house. So we have many criteria that you can put in. Let's say you're working in Sherbrooke area in the Eastern Townships. If it does not show up here, you can do a more click and you'll go get the Eastern Townships. So this is where you would click, and then if you go down, you will find Sherbrooke in here somewhere in alphabetical order. There it is. And then you have the different regions of the city of Sherbrooke. So because I have not gone into Sherbrooke recently, when I log in for the first time, I will only show the ones I have been into recently. So just to let you know, if you have nothing showing up or if you have everything showing up, the more you use a region, that'll be the only one that'll keep popping up, and they won't show you the rest of Quebec. Now, within each of these categories, you have the different municipalities that are available. And if you go into one, let's say I go into Ahuntsic here, you have also the subcategories, sub-areas of that, of Ahuntsic and Cartierville. That is one way of searching for an area for a home. The other way, by the way, you can choose more than one if you hold down your control button, or if you're using a Mac, hold down your command button and you can add another location. Just to let you know, you can add many locations as you please. Even here on the left-hand side, you can add all of those also. But I'm going to remove this and I'm going to show you the map. Honestly, that's my favorite way of looking for a home, and I'll explain why. So obviously, if you look at this map showing up slowly onto your screen, we have all over Quebec, but we may want to jump to a specific address. So let us jump to maybe 900 Papineau Street in Montreal. It's going to bring me right to the address I gave you. Now, I went to school there right across the street. So maybe you have a client that says, okay, I want to find a home that's within a kilometer walking distance for my child to go to school. So if I want to do this, I'm going to shrink my image. The school is here. So I'll just start from here. And I'm going to go and trace, just delete this, a radius around the school. So this parent wants the child to go to school on foot. So I'm going to draw a radius from the school. That'll be a kilometer wide. So I'm just going to stretch it all the way to 1 kilometer. And we're going to have everything that's for sale within that area. That's one example. Another example, if they say, well, as long my child's going to school at Concordia and I want to make sure they're able to walk to the metro and I'm looking for a condo, whatever the reason is. So I would go along the metro line. So we have the Henry Bourassa, Sauvé, Crémazie, and you can see the M's here are all your metro lines. So in this case, I would probably use the polygon. So if they want to find something that's close enough to the metro, I'm going to draw a polygon, which is going to say, well, okay, a few blocks away, either sides of the metro. I'm going to go like this, and I'll keep drawing. I can draw up to 10 different locations, and I'll just move my map. It's updating. And I'll move up my map and I'll do a part here and I'll shrink it again. And I'll do the same thing between the blue line and the green line. So I'm just going to draw another, oops, a little bit too small so I can't see my metro lines anymore. There we go. Polygon, and I'm going to go same thing here from here to here. I'm just drawing here for the purpose of the exercise. Just to show you that as long you click every time you're doing a new line, and you have to close up your field. So there we go. So now we have 3 different locations. So you can put as many as 10 locations on 10 different search areas if you want on your map. So once you've done that, you go back to your criteria. You can do it from the top here, or you can do it from the bottom left criteria. So, okay, now we have determined where we want to buy. We're looking at active status. It could be expired if you want to do an analysis. It could be sold. Off market, canceled. You get to choose. obviously we have to put a price range. So we're going to put a price range of, let's say, we're in Montreal, so nothing's cheap. Less than $900,000. And then we're going to say whether it's a bungalow, two-story home, we don't care. We don't care if it's detached or semi-detached. So again, if you hold down the control button, you'll be able to select more than one. Year built, all these other fields here are all going to be ranges, or before a date or after a date. Obviously, we're in Montreal, nothing is new, so I won't even bother putting a date, because what you have to be careful also is if the broker put unknown and you put an actual date, unknown will not appear. So, but you do have the option here of unknown, but that's going to give you only the homes that have unknown construction dates. Living area for a home, you can have the square feet or square meters. Again, it's a range. Now, the only thing you may want to be careful about is if you're a new broker, we all learned in school that we have to put the square footage of a home when we're doing an analysis. I would say 80% of the brokers do not put the square footage. So if I'm to put, the system will pick up whatever information you ask. So if I do pick up living area and I specify over even 200 square feet, if a broker did not put the living area, you will not see anything happening. So I'm going to change this here, clear map, and I'm just going to go Laval. So we have 500 matches right now in Laval. For bungalows, half story, less than 900, let's bring it down a bit. 7, so we have a little bit less homes. We're down to 687. And watch now if I put unknown. 20 matches. So we have 20 brokers that put that the year of construction is unknown. So like I said, just be careful of what you select. And now of the 687 matches, living area, if I put 100 feet square foot or more, so we're about 25%. 20 to 25% of all the listings, brokers actually put the square footage. All the others did not. So that's why I say be careful if you're going to put a field that may not have been used by the broker, because the system is going to pick up whatever the listing broker put into the system. The least information they put in, the least the fields will pop up. So let us go now into rooms. So like everything else, you can put a range of total rooms. You can put a range or more than, less than, above ground rooms. Same for bathrooms and powder rooms. So if you have a family with small children and they want absolutely at least 3 bedrooms on top, I've brought it down, but they want a total at least of 4 bedrooms. So we're down to 356. We cut by half already our range. I did put $790 million, didn't I? Let's bring it back to a normal price. We're down to 173. Sorry about that. Same idea with a driveway. We all know Montreal is hectic to park, so you may want a driveway. Even if you're in the suburbs, you can't park in the winter on the street, so you need to have a parking space. So you may want to write that at least 2 parking spaces. We're down to 145. So I think you get the picture of the more, less than, up to. If I would put the price range here, 700 to 790, I'm down to 19 matches. So the system is always going to give you how many houses match what you want. And you keep searching like that and adding or subtracting fields. Excuse me. But keep in mind that you're always going to be relying on what the broker put in. So you have family with children and you want a finished basement. Same idea here. You want at least the basement to be 6 feet or more. we're down to 16. And we want it to be a finished basement, we're up to 17. This means that the brokers did not specify more than 6 feet, but did specify finished basement, if that makes sense. So all the other amenities you can have here, you can add if you want an in-ground pool. You're down to 2 matches. You may want to remove it. Fireplace, view, access to water if you're up in the countryside, and you do have 3 options here. If you really do not want an in-ground pool, you would write not. And then we're back to 15 matches. So we've eliminated 2 houses with in-ground pools. You can have the and or above ground pool. So if I click above and click or, we are now at 7 matches that have either an in-ground pool or an above ground pool. That applies for everything. So I'm just going to remove this now. We do have also additional fields that we can add. In this case here, you would add or remove additional fields. I always keep address. For the example that I showed you before, if something has the address of 250, we have everything that has 250. All the fields that are available are here. There's really a lot of them. So whatever field you select, I'll remove this one. And I'm going to add bathroom. And you'll see why. This one. And maybe I want to add foundation. Maybe my customer doesn't want any blocks, they want poured concrete. So I've selected fields, I've added them on the right-hand side. These will always appear now whenever I'm searching for a home. So I'm going to go back. And now at the bottom are the fields that I added. So the address, like I said, I leave because the customer may call you and say, I saw a house at 250 Apple. You just want to enter 250, see if Apple Street comes up in all the categories, regardless of the type of building. Now, if you want an ensuite bathroom or powder room, we have 8 matches now, which means it's right next to the master bedroom. And if you want to make sure it's poured concrete, we now have 5 matches. So just to show you, whatever selections your client wants, you can add them in. But please, 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 just remember, it's always going to be if the broker put the information in when they entered their listing. So now that I have my results, I can go click on results. So we only have 5 homes, 2 of which already have a promise to purchase conditional to whatever it may be, the inspection, the financing, whatever it is. These 2 homes already have offers on them. We can see the basic information being the price, if it's bungalow, detached, how many bedrooms, so 3 above, 1 below, 2 bathrooms, powder rooms, if they have a garage, a pool, and I don't remember, fireplace. So this is with a fireplace, this is without fireplace. Now this is one way of seeing it. You can also see it more per page. In this case, we don't need partial, meaning now we can have a photo. So we will have the 5 homes with already a photo in front of it. Or we can have detailed listings like we're used to look at. Every one of them here, and you will move on to the next one for every single listing. This is just to show you there's different ways of looking at them. Detailed obviously will be 1 per page. Partial you can have 10, you can have 50, 25. And same with the initial partial, you can have it up to 25 listings. I'm just going to go back to my criteria here. And I'm going to change this. And I'm going to remove my criteria so I can have a lot of homes to show you. So I'm going to remove this. I'll leave the Fort Concrete. So now I have 99 homes. So now we'll see a better picture. So we'll see the results. And I chose 25 per page there here. I want to show you the statuses. So here is a conditional promise to purchase with condition to sell their home before we can go and buy this one. So this house has an accepted offer but conditional to the sale of a home, whereas this one, they already accepted the offer too, but it's realizing its conditions right now, whereas inspection or financing is concerned. If I go to the next page, notice these two are in bold character. It doesn't mean the house is special. It just means that the house is a listing from a broker in your agency. That's what it means. So these two bold characters are actually brokers in my agency that have homes for sale. So I just wanted to show you, if you ever see that, it's not because the house is special, it's a broker within your agency that has it for sale. So now let's go into a home right now. Let's just see what happens when you do get a listing. We have different icons on the top, and I'm going to explain them to you slowly so you understand what each one stands for. So my information about the listing broker is actually going to give you who's the broker, how much compensation they will give you, special instructions if they have any. Notice here the price drop from $6.99, $6.49 to $6.34. This was just November 16th. And it has been listed since the 25th of September until the end of December. So just to let you know, the basic information on the house is here. The next button, your client is interested in this home. You can share the documents with your client. And when I'm talking about documents, I'm talking about what the broker did include. In this case, seller's declaration, amendment to the seller's declaration, and their certificate of location. So let's say my client, I send them this house, and I want to share. They call me back and they say, you know what, we're really interested in this house. Can you send us more details? You will use the share button, share the details sheet, and everything else with your client. You will use the share the documents button, which will allow you to send it in a client format. And you can use the imperial feet, inches, or in the metric measures. Next, enter your client's email. If you want to receive a copy, just say send me a copy, French or English, and you will share. So they'll receive an email with all the details on that one property. So that's what that share button is all about. Now, we also have watched this listing. So let's say we did make an offer on this listing, but your offer was refused. Obviously, you and your clients are going to be curious to know, in the end, how much was it sold for and how much were we off? So if you watch this listing, this is just an internal note that will be sent to you by Centris once the house is changed to sold. And you just want to write for yourself for which clients are you referring to, and a note, they were curious as to the sold price. So this is just to let you know, and then you watch. When they do send you the message, you will receive it by email, but you will also have a bell right here with the number 2. So I have the sale that showed up here, that it was sold. And I can get the act if I want to. And another watch listing here. And who was it for? It was again a notarial act. But you can have, it will send you a bell and an email letting you know what happened with that listing. Then you have the walk score, distance to stores, schools, activity on the information of the listing. So basically it's the history of what the broker did for that listing from the moment they listed the listing to making changes. So it looks like this. So all the changes they've been doing, and every single day they start a new listing and then they modified. And if you want to know what they modified, you can just click the button and it's going to tell you they brought it down by $50,000. So you have all the history of that one listing by the broker. Irregularities. This is where, in a secretive format, if you want, you can advise Centris that something's wrong with that listing. The two obvious ones that we see often is measurements. Some brokers still enter the house and then say everything is 3 by 3 meters or 10 by 10 feet. We all know that's impossible. So in this case, you can click on irregularities. It's going to send an email to Centris, not to the OECIQ, and it's going to say the measurements are off. So copyright inaccurate assessment. It's somewhere in there. Room size. And you're going to type a comment saying, broker entered 10 by 10 on every single room. I know this is wrong. And you submit. So yes, the Quebec Professional Board Centris knows it's from you, but they will not tell the broker who told them. The broker is going to think it's Centris that noticed that all the rooms were off. And they're going to have the corrections done. We want to look professional, so we're helping ourselves look professional towards the public. Once they've contacted the broker, they will send you back an email saying, we have contacted the broker, the message has been transmitted, the broker should enter the right measurements soon. So you're made aware, and it's anonymous in that that broker will never know it was you that sent a message of what was wrong with their listing. I've seen a lot of measurements, and I've seen a lot of declaration by the seller empty. So that was the irregularities. Like I said, the listing broker will not know it's you. Then we have the history. Is this an old property? Yeah, it's 1974. So this is going to be the actual history of this property. It shows you that it's active right now. Last time it was sold by a broker was in 2013. That's what it looked like. And they tried to sell it also in 2012, but it expired and didn't get sold. So some houses you have, I was looking at another one this morning, it was annulled contracts every 2 months. And in my mind, as if this seller approaches me, 6 annulled contracts within a year. Sorry, but I'm not interested. I mean, I don't know what happened, but it just doesn't look good. So basically, we kept changing brokers every 2 months. So here we have the active listing, and we're also able to see the old pictures and compare them to the new pictures. So sometimes I like to show that to my clients, see the changes that have been done to the house. Oops, sorry. Let's go back to Matrix. Let's go back, by the way. You can always go back to your recent searches on the right-hand side. So the search we just did is still here. So if you did like I did, hit the wrong button, we're back to where we were. Let's go back to a listing and continue my buttons. I was almost done. This is your communities. It's basically StatsCan, but dates back to 2016, so there's not much information that's up to date in there. A calculator. This is your virtual tool if you want to see it, and this is so you can send it right into Instanet to create an offer with the information from the listing. So this is another listing from 1993, just for the fun of it, the history. It's the first time it's being put for sale by a broker. Just remember that, it's by a broker. So we've seen the different search criteria, so you may want to change them. You can always go back and do more changes and say, okay, now that's really off my budget. How much is for less than 600? And we're down to 52 matches. So you can do changes like this. And they finally they tell you, you know what, as long as there's 2 above ground, my second child can go in the basement, but I do want 4 total. Some adjustments have been then done again. Now we're up 68 matches. So you can do these changes all the time. Your buyer wants absolutely a garage with all the kids' toys, not for the car. We're down to 26 matches. So you're able to play around different statuses here. Now, if you're a broker who wants to do, go and check out expired listings or expiration date, I would say from, if I use the dates, it'll be from 2023, 12/31 to 2024, 01/10. So I want to see how many houses are going to expire between December 31st and January 10th. I have 2. So if you're the type of broker that likes to go after soon to be expired listings, you can do it that way. If I want to check, I'm going to show you something. Let's say here since 10/01 plus. I want to show you something. These are homes that expired or will expire since October 1st. Hopefully I'll have what I'm looking for right here, the results. Oops, hold on. Did I say that? Oh. Okay, so these will, okay, from October 1st to 2023, 11/30. Okay. Nobody. 12/31. I have 1 match. So I only have one that's going to expire at the end of December, and that's this one. So if I look at the information here, it should match. It's expiring December 31st. Now what I may want to look is for homes that expired since October 31st. Hopefully I'll have something I can show you. There we go. That's what I wanted to show you. So I asked for anything that expired since October 1st. This one did expire, but it's already been relisted. So you may want to go to solicit other clients that are here that have expired, that are not relisted, and that I have not sold. So that's one way to try to get new clients, is go see the expired homes that were not relisted. So, but just be careful. If it has a red check mark, like we will see here, it's already been relisted. Not necessarily the same broker, but it already has been relisted. If you want to create yourself a cart, so let's say you want to keep watch on houses, or you want to save carts for clients that are looking for homes, they're not ready, but you want to keep track of certain homes for them. Go to criteria again, let's say active, Sorry, I'll remove the dates. And I'll be more specific here. So I don't want to, oh, I only have 26 matches. So let's say my results here, I'm going to keep for these clients. I can refine my selection by removing the ones that have conditional promises to purchase, but I may want to leave them there because they'll show up whether they're sold or not. Actually, this one, what you might want to do is keep watch, and it's going to let you know that it's back on the market. So that's something you may do. But let's say I'm going to select all, and I want to add them to a cart. So we're shopping for somebody, and we want to create a new cart. That will be the cart name. So you choose a name, and you choose a contact you have, or you create a new contact and save. If I go back to my main page for Centris, so I'll go into search and go back to my main page. Hold on, back into Matrix. My carts. I did not save it on my main page, but I can find them here. So I have my carts with my 26 listings that we're testing to show you that you can save them for yourself to go back and look at them. If you don't want to keep it anymore, just click, I did this one this morning, and delete. I have one cart in function right now, and that's for a client. I can also do automatic emails, but that's another training you may want to follow from Centris that you'll enjoy. So I showed you the carts. I showed you how to send them by email. If I go back to my recent search right here, and let's say I look at them with photos, and just out of the blue as such, I would select the ones that I think they would be pleased with, not just send all the listings. I'm just going to tick them off, and I can email them. At the bottom left, we have the email button. So you write to whom, if you want to copy, French or English, subject, and an email body, and your signature that you can edit. So you can email without the documents, just the listings, using just selecting which ones you want to send them without sending the seller's declaration, certificate of location, or all kinds of invoices they could have included. You can also see listings by members. You can also see open houses and caravans. So by members, I'll just write my name, search, and you can see my active listings by clicking here. Obviously they're in bold, it's within my office, but I'm just saying you're able to see the active listings by broker also. I think I've gone around the different categories, how to search by map, and your cart, how to send by email. Does anybody have any questions? Did I go too fast? Was it clear? I did go into single family. Oh, let me show you something else. Just so you remember, if you have a house with a bachelor, if you're looking at single family homes again, and we'll go in general, you have the option here, intergeneration. So intergeneration, basically, depending on each municipality, it's supposed to mean that two families or two members of the same family live in the same house. It does not have a second address. It does not have separate hydro bills, separate water tank. It's really for family members only. It's not for rent. So if I look in Blainville for intergeneration, it tells me I have 14. If I look at the 14 matches, I didn't want the count, I want to see the results. Okay, we have bungalows, and some of them actually have 2 addresses, so they could be considered a duplex. So you have to be careful. When you see one with a Z, that's because the broker entered this house under 2 separate entities. In other words, as a single family home with an intergeneration, but it could have entered it as a duplex, because there may be a second address, there may be something else involving this house. So just so you know, if I go into duplexes now, I may find this same house appearing again because there's 2 different addresses. Whether they're legal or not, this is another story. But just to let you know, be careful when you're searching for a home with intergenerational. That means it's supposed to be a family member. But if I look into revenues and duplex, some of these listings may come back because I would have mentions. Let's do Blainville duplex. I'm not sure if I would have a match, but I may have, see that same address is back here. So there is a match. They entered it with a Z under a duplex, but is it really a duplex? So be careful, something to watch out for. Tamara's asking me, can I set up an email alert to send me expired as they come up for a certain area? You would have to follow the training on auto emails. So yes, you would create an auto email whenever a house becomes expired, depending on your search sent to you. You're also prospecting with another broker. Can I send a client information for myself and broker? I am prospecting only once the house is expired, not before. You're going against the regulations of the OACIQ. You cannot prospect people that already have a signed contract if it's not expired. It's illegal. Do we have other questions? Actually, while you're talking to me right now, oh, it's not on the MLS, but it's on for sale. Sure, you can prospect everywhere you want. Just want to show you here, when you go into your tools and you go into Matrix Toolkit, well, try again, Toolkit. You have the automatic email is here. You can actually follow that in January, or if you don't want to wait till January, you can always listen to a pre-recorded complete training that you can watch anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Same thing for shorter versions of little steps, how to search properties in 5 minutes, configure your settings. You have different, how to create your cart in 2 minutes. So this is just to let you know, if you go into your tools, Matrix, you do have information.